I got paid very well.
Front
as a
or
student.
back
Uh,
of the donkey?
Well, actually, I got chosen for the shower scene, actually. So, by a very attractive lady. Thank you very much.
Fin at my Scotch egg.
No.
Yeah, I was going to eat it for breakfast.
It's your own fault.
He turned around, he was
Rule number one, don't leave your food on the floor. What do you
broke
think
in
was...
my bag and
Did he?
get out.
You can literally sit at home, do nothing, one assumes, and
We have more children.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that, you're not suggesting that? Are you?
No,
sorry, I thought you had some news there.
No news. The 3rd of December, this is Mark Glover. Are you actually a doctor?
I am.
All right, okay. Dr. Glover, come to talk about biostimulants in the crops we grow and how we can utilise them, or should we be utilising them, and are we utilising them, or are we getting it all wrong? How are we going to get to the 12 tonne a hectare, and is biostimulants the new muck and mystery that we've been missing out of for generations, or is it the new snake oil? And we got Pippa Hutchinson down here, who's we've just been out for a nice bit of lunch. I shocked them a bit, actually. I said, we've got to go for lunch, I'm starving. But anyway, we've now filled up with vouchers and we've got £60 off. But when I went to pay with the £60 off, it turned out I can't do that until January, and I've got to do it 4 times. So anyway, that aside. So Mark, in terms of the biostimulant aspect, in short, what actually are biostimulants?
Right, so the UK is in some ways in an unfortunate position because there's no regulation on biostimulants in the UK, unlike Europe. So, but CRD recognised that biostimulants have to do one or more of 3 things, which is nutrient use efficiency, crop health, and reducing stress. So that is their definition of biostimulants in the UK.
So in human terms, it's a bit like taking your vitamins to reduce the stress aspect.
Yep.
You've got a small window of growth depending upon the crop and whether it's spring drilled or whether it's winter drilled.
Yep.
The timeliness of those to make what we do put on in terms of liquid nitrogen or granular nitrogen to make those aspects more efficient, and to utilise the sun.
Yes, that's correct. So up until past 3 or 4 years, a lot of the biostimulants have been based around variations of seaweed, amino acids, and PGA, pedolic acid, variations of those things. Increasingly, there are more biostimulants, claimed biostimulants, coming onto the market.
Yes.
Some of those are definitely snake oil in category. Because of the lack of regulation, they can do that.
That's extraordinary if there's no regulation.
Because
immediately the purpose of the crops I'm growing, they are going into food.
Yep.
And actually, you can buy a product, apply it without it actually being regulated. I'm amazed by it, actually.
Correct, absolutely. I totally agree with you. People can claim a biostimulant effect without any need to evidence that biostimulant effect they're claiming, and it is wrong.
Now, this is where Agrii comes in because, as we were driving back, I said I've effectively only got 20 harvests left, so I don't want to be spending 20 years trying to create the magic potion that's finally going to do it. I need to be more advanced in that, and Agrii is actually working on that on my or growers' behalf, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been doing that for several years. I think the last count we have tested over 300 claimed biostimulants, and there's only actually 3 or 4 biostimulants we're actually using.
Oh my goodness, 1%.
Correct.
Wow.
And that is before that has been based upon field trials. So you've had actual field trials which are timely, costly.
Which fits in well with my field with the Field of Dreams.
Correct.
Which would be a filter. But 1%.
Yep, it's frightening. Which is why Agrii, Origin, have invested a lot of money in the glasshouse at Throws Farm.
Yeah.
Because we can quick fail these biostimulants. So if they say this biostimulant improves rooting or reduces stress under heat or drought, we can actually test that in a controlled environment. And if they don't cut the mustard, they get ditched and we just move on.
So in theory, if 300 biostimulants on the marketplace, if I wanted to do my own trials personally, I would not see the end of those within the 20 years, would I?
Correct. Absolutely. You are relying upon, whether it's Agrii or another business, to do the filtering for you.
And if it's unregulated, then people can make lavish claims.
Correct.
That's the problem we're now in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's actually quite frightening because you think in a modern day world now that actually they wouldn't be able to. I suppose yield is subjective, isn't it? If you get a bad yield and you put something on, there's always a factor of reasons why you didn't get the yield you hoped for. So of course you could argue that they never get challenged.
Yep. Absolutely.
So your role in Agrii, you are quite motivated by micronutrients, aren't you? It's your sort of thing.
What I'm motivated by is giving our agronomists tools that they can use to actually benefit their customers. So whether that's a crop protection product or a micronutrient or a biostimulant or an adjuvant, it's to make sure those agronomists can be confident in those products they've got on in the toolbox. And it's up to them, in conjunction with the farmer, to make sure they're used properly. And I think we actually do a pretty good job of educating agronomists in each of those category of products. Biostimulants is an increasing challenge because the way these biostimulants work has been utterly different than conventional crop protection products. So how they're used to get the most out of them needs to be quite specific for the product.
So if Europe, as I understood earlier, is regulated now on the use of biostimulants,
Yeah.
in real terms, how quickly do you think that regulation will actually come here?
Right, so I can't remember the exact terminology, but I believe the Labour government at the moment are but because they want to get closer to Europe, there's this alignment.
Okay.
So the regulations in Europe regulations in the UK will need to match the regulations in Europe.
Right.
So if that happens, that regulatory process will come in really quickly.
So if we were to put a timeline on, we could say under the 4 years
Yes.
that Labour's...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So probably under 3 years then, what they've got left,
Yep.
because they're just over a year now, aren't they?
Yeah.
So interesting, but actually that's quite quick.
Yes.
In a farming sense.
Yep.
And on the regulated products that are available in Europe, of those 300, how many of those would actually be available in Europe?
What from the European versions? They can be readily used in the UK. We've actually got some biostimulants in our portfolio that are from Europe and actually have biostimulant registration on them.
Okay.
So it gives us a little bit of confidence because part of that process, they have to evidence the performance of the product to be classified as a biostimulant.
But we've also found out in the past with chemicals that a lot of good chemicals don't naturally come to the end because they don't want to pay for the re-registration. Are we in risk for actually there's some good biostimulant products, but they can't afford to go through the registration process, so we miss out on them in farming, and it isn't purely because they're registered if it makes them good?
I'd actually reverse that. I'm not going to answer your question directly, but what I would say is a lot of the biostimulants, the cost of them actually are not suitable for broadacre crops, for combinable crops.
Okay.
Because of and they just at the moment they just cannot get the costs down out of it. So in some ways, it's almost a natural filter, and we've got one at the moment that I think the science of it is really, really good, and it does work. But the cost of it, the return on investment, wheat would have to be have to be £300 a tonne.
Yeah, okay.
But on potatoes,
And what would be the uplift, do you think, if you were to put a percentage of uplift if you use that product?
for them, it was 12% uplift with what they called a 75% hit rate. So 25% of the time, they didn't reach that 14% uplift.
So they get some unsatisfactory results sometimes.
Yes, so
and
it's
that
like
could even be per a year, couldn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And you get a piano graph,
Okay.
which comes back to, I think we discussed earlier on, understanding the exact features you're looking for in a biostimulant.
Yeah.
Seaweed is a biostimulant, really,
Yeah.
but it's got lots of features and components in there that deliver certain things. Increasingly, I think, you need to be picking out those certain things, knowing how they function, and deliver it to the crop.
I mean, 12% is actually a lot. So that's a price
Yes.
difference at the moment. It's
Yeah.
not for the product isn't good enough to do it. It's actually, this is a price issue.
Yeah.
Do you think that the role of the agronomist might change in the sense that I might have a biostimulant agronomist as well as having a standard broadacre agronomist?
I think you'll have an agronomist who's fully au fait with delivering a profitable crop for the customer.
Okay, so
And
your journey will be training.
Absolutely,
Okay.
and you'll see it we've got 10 or so commercial teams within, sales teams, agronomy teams within the business. One of the teams we call it the fruit team, and you look at the proportion of bios that used within that team versus crop protection products, it is way higher than the other teams, and that's the direction of travel broadacre crops will go with.
Would it be a fair statement to say that at the moment farmers perhaps don't have the confidence to spend on sort of projects that don't deliver because of the nature in which we're in? So we want some good science coming back to sort of give us the confidence to do that.
You've got the agronomist has got to have full confidence in the tool he is actually advising the client with straight. To do that, you've got to have either rely upon the supplier, whoever it is, the manufacturer, or we actually do our internal work. And increasingly, product confidence is driven by having our own internal data because they tend not to trust.
How fascinating that we're actually in a situation that we've got an unregulated market. Effectively, that if you read the glossy leaflet and things, you could be bought into it to actually be hugely disappointed.
Yeah, the sad thing is that then reflects upon products which are good in the market, not regulated.
Because the biostimulant name, one for a better word, gets tarnished.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, well, so you're going to go make a nice plan, aren't we? We're going to do a strip up the Field of Dreams, aren't we? We're going to do a muck and mystery potion.
I don't deal in muck and mystery.
Well, whatever you want to call it.
A 14-ton crop.
An unregulated spray up the field, and we're going to see what it does.
Perfect. Nice seeing you.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's Wednesday afternoon, having a catch up with Nick from Chaveries about the budget which happened this time last week in respect to it was Wednesday last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What effect that's going to happen on this business, and we're now in this period of time where every time a budget seems to be impending, any kind of decision that we seem to be involved in with other parties seems to stop. The government now feels that create this period of almost nothing can happen. And I was reading this morning, we get these emails come through, for example, the CLA, and they're predicting, the person they were talking to in the finance team predicting that within either this next period or in February that will go down another 0.25% by the Bank of England.
This month, I'd say.
That's actually, and it then went on to say that the government had given businesses a lot of confidence. I was surprised in that comment because I haven't come out of last week feeling more confident, but I'm sort of interested to hear what your opinion is and actually what we need to focus on. The welcome 0.25 actually for us is on a borrow-based business as opposed to a cash on interest terms. I think actually is welcomed if that does come, and that will be helpful for sort of future plans, whether it's borrowing to build or acquisitions.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll talk about the budget a bit, which was there wasn't a huge amount in the budget, and really look at the future. I've got a few graphs that.
We've done it old school, Nick.
We've done it.
So we've got at the other
very
end of
old
the table,
school.
we've got a 25 and a 24-year-old that want to do it all on PowerPoints, and no, we said no. We'll go to the white marker board.
And we've got Harry Pace at the end of the table, and I've asked Harry to look at some statistics because I've been hearing these things all week about welfare and benefits and this child benefit cap that's been lifted, and people kept saying to me that
£4,000 a child a year.
Yeah, and people kept saying to me that if you're a couple with 3 children, you've got to be earning more than £71,000 a year for it to be better off for you to work.
I think that was in the Telegraph, wasn't it, front page?
And Harry's looked at it and confirmed that. So
that's correct, is it?
I mean, that's correct. That
So just to be clear on that, if you have 3 children, you are better to not work than some.
Married 3 children, better to not work unless you're making more than £71,000 a year.
Net.
No, that'll be a gross.
Okay.
That'll be a gross. So call it £35,000 or 35 one and 36 the other.
Yeah.
But that is an unbelievable statistic, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's devastating when you think how hard people are working.
A quarter of the working age population are on benefits.
25%.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I think strictly speaking, actually, about half of the working population are on some form of benefit, but a quarter of the working age population are on what you would traditionally call, handout type benefits.
So that means 50% of the population are producing the income for that, and then how many of them are now leaving?
Well, it's to go abroad.
Yeah.
I don't know what the statistics are, but clearly, there's a lot of wealth that is seeping out of the UK, and lots of young people are.
Isn't it a frightening
disappearing.
statistic for something like 3% of the top earners are producing? Is it? I can't remember if it's 50 or 80% of the income.
It's
Is
about. I think there's a ridiculous statistic that says something like the top 1% pay 30% or something. It is an unbelievable statistic, and can we really afford for these people to be leaving? And the really interesting thing about last week's budget is, apart from this chaos where the Office for Budget Responsibility released effectively the budget
early,
an hour or two before it began, is how silent it was on anything positive. So going back to what you said at the beginning, is this budget was very much characterised by everyone saying, look, we've got no confidence, you've dragged this process out far too much, we're too nervous to do anything, we're too nervous to invest because we don't know what's coming. And actually sat here today, I don't think we're in any better position economically. There's more, I think there's less confidence in this government than there was, and what appears to be, you wouldn't call, I suppose, misrepresentation of the numbers. And a lot of people say that actually the numbers that we get from the Office for National Statistics aren't right. And clearly we've got a misrepresentation, and effectively we've got the Labour Party, which traditionally I always thought was a party that would have been backing the miners and all those types, is now it is the welfare party, isn't it? All these
working man.
No. All these Labour backbenchers that they're after. It's all about welfare, and we have to look ahead and think where we're going, because we had the bombshell of what happened a year ago in that October budget, where inheritance tax had a coach and horses driven through it.
Yeah, and did you see the voting that was in Parliament? I think it was last night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To do with the Labour obviously voted the majority to do that.
Yeah, and
you look at it, it's all Labour.
Yeah.
And then the no's were all Conservatives and Lib Dems, etc.
Yeah, and
Reform.
And they're never going to change that. And we'll look at a graph in a minute that demonstrates why that is so damaging, and why what they're doing with income tax is so damaging. And they just don't seem to get the idea that actually an awful lot of the country's GDP is driven by not by PLCs. Actually, it's business people with their own businesses that have a massive multiplier effect, that use local services, that use shops, whatever it is, restaurants, and they've actually killed that. And interestingly, the other thing that they've done in this budget is they've also started to kill the hospitality industry again because of this impact of business rates. So let's just start with what we learned from the budget. What we learned is that they're not going to reverse their ideas on inheritance tax. So business property relief, agricultural property relief, we're still going to be at this 50% rate, and we get this £1 million. The only thing that they did bring in, which was semi-sensible, but I don't know why people are particularly applauding it, is the being able to move the million between husband and wife. But fundamentally, they've destroyed.
And if you're a widow,
inheritance tax relief. Well, I think in theory you'd inherit, so it would work like the nil rate band on the 325.
even though if you already were a widow.
We think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was about the only thing. They're then attacking dividends, so they've put another 2% on dividends. Again, it's just really bizarre, because if you want to promote an entrepreneurial spirit, and I know they talk about enterprise investment schemes, but that's for the few, that's for the you look in that direction at Cambridge, and that's for the future. That's not going to help this sector. But if you're entrepreneurial and actually you make some money and you pay 25% corporation tax on it, and then potentially you pay another rounded 40% on top of that to get your money out the company to live on, it's not much of an incentive, is it? No. I mean, in a place like Germany, it's 25%. So they just don't seem to get that side of it. And I'm just going to jump up now and let's just have a look at this whiteboard. And I mean, some of you, if you're as old as I am, will remember Ronald Reagan, and when he was president of the United States, I think he was 81 to 89, is he had an economic advisor called Art Laffer, and he created this thing called the Laffer curve, and this is the Laffer curve, and essentially it's common sense what the Laffer curve says. It says, look, if you have an increasing tax rate, so call that 0 and call that 100 at that end, and you look at your tax revenue, so tax revenue is on this axis here, is there reaches a point where people will stop any economic activity because they'll stop working.
Yeah.
But the really interesting thing is, before the budget, talking to businesses that we advise, is they're saying, well, look, we don't want to expand anymore. What's the point? If I expand the business and I make more money, then A I'm going to pay a load of corporation tax and income tax on it.
And then inheritance tax.
And B, an inheritance tax on top. So actually, I mean, I think originally the Laffer curve was in relation to income tax, but actually what we now have in this country is the Laffer curve working in relation to capital taxes. So people aren't doing things because you reach a point, and it's a bit like this thing with pensions where because we're going to have inheritance tax on pensions from 2027, then you can lose 67% of your pension as a result of A, inheritance tax, and B, income tax. So you get stagnation. So the stagnation that the government are causing by not having clear economic policy and not having a clear fiscal framework and a low enough fiscal framework is it's massively damaging. And, this is, that Laffer was proved to be correct, because I think what he did effectively is he reduced the rate of income tax in the States, and there was a massive economic boom.
Where are we, Nick, on where this red line is now, would you predict?
Well, I for people to work hard, as soon as you start to take more than 50% of it away, logically, they say, well, I'm not going to do it. I think in practice, if you take more than a third of it away, but we then have to combine the Laffer curve and look at the Chav curve. So if we go on to the Chav curve, now you've got to bear in mind that my business was named Chaveries long before the word Chav came into being. So this is the Chav curve which Harry has helpfully invented for me. And basically on this axis you've got the work shy.
Yeah.
So we've got our 25% of the working population. We've got 1 million more people on universal credit today than we had a year ago.
Wow.
That's right, isn't it, Harry? Yeah. 1 million people. And this is quite a simple curve. The number of work shy increases as the benefit level increases effectively, or the access to benefits. And again, what we're going to see from this child benefit thing, if you've got, if we do a line here that's our 70,000 quid, I mean, that is just, you can literally sit at home do nothing, one assumes, and
We have more children.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that, you're not suggesting that? Are you?
No,
sorry,
no.
I thought you had some news
No,
there.
no news. Yeah.
But you put those two things together, and basically, what I'm saying is that when you're in a position like us, you take Harry, who's starting out in work, 24. Well, what's fair? Mm-hmm. It's this fairness, and I mean, love them or loathe them, Reform always go on about this point about fairness, but it's not fair, is it? It's not fair. I mean, I drove up to just past Boston this morning, so I got in my car at about 5:15, and I stopped at Cambridge Services probably at about, I don't know, 7, something like that, maybe a bit before 7. And it was full of people going to the McDonald's, going to the Costa, going to whatever. They clearly weren't going to work. Mm-hmm. And it's just unbelievable how we're evolving as a country. But what do you do about it? Mm-hmm. Well, if you assume that we are effectively in the 70s, and what do we need to happen? Well, we need interest rates to come down. I think interest rates will come down because I think, and I said it, last time we spoke, I'd hope that they're going to reduce interest rates by 0.25% this month.
And then what?
Well, then what I think the government are going to discover is the unemployment rate is going to go through the roof next year.
Because of national insurance hikes?
It's not just national insurance, it's technology.
Okay.
Look at what people are doing with their businesses. They're using AI to take people out of businesses. So and I think people are looking long and hard at business. I mean, this sector is a classic case of if you can cut costs, mm-hmm. you're going to cut costs because of where the Arable job is at the moment. Mm-hmm. Dairy job's not great at the moment either. So people are going to, they're going to look at things and they're going to start to make efficiencies. We're going to have a massive issue with youth unemployment that the government needs to tackle because people are just not hiring. They're not hiring graduates. We hire the Harrys of this world because actually they're the ones who hopefully in 20 or 30 years' time are going to be replacing me. So you've got to keep that going, but inevitably profit comes before looking ahead 10, 20, 30 years because that's just how people operate.
So you think people may become less generational thinking?
Yeah, I think it's already happening, and I think we can all sit here and be very depressed about things, but what we've got to remember is that hopefully these guys aren't going to be there for too much longer, mm-hmm. and we will have a change in the same way that we had the Reagan government, the Reagan presidency in 81. I think we had Thatcher in 79 mm-hmm. that replaced a very left-leaning government. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we will get the same, and hopefully we will get some common sense that says we've got to get people into work, and there's got to be an incentive to build business. That's what we can all hope for, and I live in. I'm optimistic about it. I do think that lots of people who are leaving the country will end up coming back again.
When things change, or?
Every country has got the same issues that we've got mm-hmm. with welfare and everything. You've got to pay for welfare. You look at countries like Switzerland, they had a vote on a big wealth tax that didn't go through. I think that was last week. Italy are changing how they attack wealth. So I think it's a worldwide issue. But we just need a government that embraces business. Mm. People like you, James, who've basically gone from, a sensible start in life, but you've taken massive risk to get to where you've got to. that's the entrepreneurial spirit that ultimately pays that welfare bill, isn't it? You know, and you know, there's nothing wrong with people who would genuinely need help, getting help, but they're just making it too easy, aren't they? You know,
It's a big figure, that.
that is, it's an unbelievable figure, and difficult to know. It's not going to change. You know, obviously there's been a huge amount in the press about whether the Chancellor lied about things, whether the government have lied about things. Who knows what the reality will be? But you'd probably put some money on the fact that if they do very badly at the local elections in May of next year, that we are likely to see a change at the top. And if we do see a change at the top, we might yet go further left. So, you know, what do you do about it? Well, you have to hunker down and have a plan for 5 years, don't you, basically? That's what you need to do. You've got to write, you know, I know a lot of people talk about riding it out and not doing inheritance tax planning. I actually think that's the wrong thing to do. I think you should be doing...
Yeah. I mean, the reality is 5 years doesn't sound a long time when you're 20. But when you're suddenly getting towards 50 and you think you've got 20 harvests left, 5 years proportionately is 25%.
Yeah.
It's suddenly, that is a long time in that sense.
Well, and you've got to have another 5 kids to make sure you get your child benefit as well. So it's...
I'd have to be home to do that. And if any turn up, it weren't mine.
That'll age you.
Yeah, that will age me. Yeah. You see the grey hairs coming then.
Christ, yeah. It's amazing when you stand back from it how far things have changed in the last 5 years. And I know people always talk about that pre-COVID time. But, you know, we mustn't be... You have to keep going. You've got to sit squarely in the chair, keep going, keep planning, keep doing things. Interest rates are still very, very affordable. The difference between where we are today and where we were in the 70s is that interest rates were 4 times higher effectively. And interest rates will come down, and I think we have to have confidence in the industry.
In the next 12 months, though, could you see the interest rate coming down on further occasions?
Yeah, because I think the government are going to get caught out, as they have been caught out, by just how badly unemployment goes. Yeah, and how badly that is going to, because it's going to be quite scary. I think what's going to happen to unemployment for lots of different reasons. Just not just employers NI.
Have they done that so they don't have social unrest?
Well, effectively, they've done it so they don't have backbencher unrest, because they're trying to hang on to where they are. You know, they don't want a vote of no confidence. That's why they've done it.
But if you take somebody who's coming out of school and you say to them, there's 2 options, work really hard, or this option. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of people say, well, hold on this option, can I stay and watch Netflix all day and do whatever? And you say, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's such a big number. You've got to work very hard to get that.
Yeah. It's unreal. It's unreal where we've got to.
And then we'll start to find, won't we, that there'll be the sort of the lower skilled jobs which would have been filled in the past may no longer start to be filled.
Yeah, and the natural result of that is people will fill it with technology. So those jobs will disappear forever, won't they? And if Elon Musk and his humanots that he's producing come to being.
I saw Susie yesterday, who comes and does the ironing, that sort of thing. She said 50% of her workload has disappeared in the last 6 weeks. Yeah. And she said, I said, what's happening? She said, people are just cutting back. Yeah. They've just decided to not spend any money. Yeah. Which is extraordinary.
Yeah, as I say, I there is still no confidence out there, and what, say, like them or loathe them, what this government have got to do is bring a level of confidence back into the system.
Can we talk about farming for a minute and confidence in farming, about actually what you think we're going to see over the next 12 months?
Yeah.
Or say, should we say 3 years? Actually, that's a bit better. 12 months is
Yeah.
a flash in the pan in farming terms,
Yeah.
isn't it? So arable farming at the moment, on paper, unless we can achieve uncharacteristically high budgeted prices and high budget yields, if you took the last 3 years as your budget, you would be looking at making no money because of the peculiar seasons we've suffered. It would have to go, take a 10-year average. We've got to, the prices as they stand at the moment are okay as long as we're going to do over 10 tonne a hectare. As soon as we drop, that industry is struggling. Machinery dealerships surely are going to start struggling. Will we see?
It's already happening. Yeah.
Will we see amalgamation of farms a lot quicker in the next sort of 24 months?
Yeah, we've got to, because I think what normally saves things is a peak in commodity price, or an increase in commodity price. That normally stops people putting land on the market or putting land out for FBT or whatever it is. But we've had poor harvest, prolonged low commodity price, stuff not moving, and I think you've got to marry that with the level of confidence in the sector because of inheritance tax and that side of it. I think what we're going to see, and what we're already seeing, is pressure on cash flow. We get to Easter of next year, 2026. Those businesses that that are under pressure now are going to start to have banks knocking on the door saying, right.
So you think it is that this confidence is coming back to the banks now? That you think that they're already starting to twitch?
They must be, because they must be. Anyone who's looking at their forward cash flows must be looking at them and saying, look, we're not going to have enough money as we get round to April, May. How are we going to sort harvest out? And I think that's going to be very, very common. So I think we're going to see a rationalisation of businesses over the next 12 to 24 months. I think inevitably, we talked about this last time, we have to see some common sense coming into how land is farmed. Are CFAs, FBTs really the right way to do things? There probably needs to be some hybrid way of doing it. Land that can do 10 tonnes, fine. Yeah. But what about where you've got land that in an average is doing 7 or 8? There's probably still quite a lot of that's being farmed. That will have to change. So we are going to see a big shakeout in the market, assuming we don't have
a world event that knocks the prices up
and
delays
you've got another £100. So we're going to see change, but ultimately it will be a good thing because the businesses that are left will be those who ultimately are strong. They can attract the right people to do the farming. They can pay the right wages, because we're going to have to start paying people better wages to get people into the sector, like with most things.
It does worry me though, Nick. If we're very negative about the industry, then we are by default going to end up struggling to get people, because you're not going to attract people.
But I see it as a cycle. I actually see that beyond the rationalisation, we have a strong industry that will make money, because the best farmers they'll be able to break even at a very low wheat. I mean, I'm using wheat as the proxy for this, but they'll be able to break even at a very low wheat price, and inevitably all the input companies, the machinery businesses, they're going to have to start to come to the party. I always mention Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Got to mention Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because I always do. But food, water, shelter, that's not going to change. We're not suddenly going to import everything we need. It's going to get more and more difficult. We can see what's going on with Russia. What everyone's forgotten is we've got China. So what are China going to do next? Where, everyone is still after resource. Beyond this period, a much stronger sector, and obviously bits of the sector, are doing okay. We talked about it before, fruit, veg, poultry, that side of it. Still, I always say, still not making enough money. Because they've been rammed down so far by the retailers, but it's getting more sensible.
So do you think we've got a 3-year window or shorter?
What, of rationalisation?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about spring, which is, not many months away, really, in a lot of terms.
Yeah.
That they're going to be getting to spring and trying to find a way to get to harvest, and then that will probably mean early sales at harvest, which, whether or not we can move it, because that will be the next problem, as we're already finding there's grain that we've got to sell, but there isn't the markets to place it in. You'll shift that problem a bit further, but you'll get to Christmas then. You'll bring that spring back to Christmas, won't you? Because the money will have been spent earlier.
Yeah.
So by next Christmas, it'll be even worse.
If things don't change, we've got a couple of years of it. I'd have said 2 seasons, including this season. So
Right.
20.
So in a lot of sense, some people will say, right, tighten your belts, bucken down, do nothing. That's often been a sort of a rule people would live by, isn't it, in those situations? So is that the time to do nothing, or is it the time to actually look at opportunities and do something else?
I'd say be looking at opportunities, because if you're a landowner that's not in practice a farmer, or you don't have the capability to farm in terms of the kit and the people, I would be looking at this time and saying, right, where do I go to get my farmer? Because the danger is that in 2 or 3 years' time, some of these landowners, and they might be very big estates, they can't actually get anyone to farm it.
It seems, I know that we talk about the 1930s where this actually was going on, but it almost seems impossible to believe that situation would ever come by, judging by the sort of the general sort of people stampeding to get hold of land as we stand today.
Yeah, I think we're close to that situation, because we think of all the issues we've got. I mean, not necessarily, some of it's caused by this, effectively, that is trying to get people to work in the sector is very difficult. I think trying to get people to work in most sectors is difficult. I don't think that, we're necessarily standalone in that respect. So I think that is a massive issue. So who are we going to get to do the work? Are they capable of doing it well?
Yeah.
Because we all know the difference between someone who farms well and someone who farms badly. You've then got the working capital, the kit and everything else that goes with it, the economics of it. So when you put all that together...
Isn't that where the problem's going to come? The opportunities might present themselves, but people can't financially raise the money to be able to gear up or afford to rent or afford to cash flow it.
Possibly, but those good farmers will be backed by the likes of Oxbury, who look at the industry, I think, through a different lens.
Yeah.
And a massively positive, and have been massively positive for the sector, because they understand the life cycle of farming.
We're talking about shifting effectively. The financial model is going to change in farming going forward.
It's got to.
Yeah.
It's got to.
Who owns the crops? Who owns the inputs?
The FBT and the CFA model and that side of it, and how things work, has got to change. And really, the tax policy should have changed around that, but it hasn't. But that side of it has got to change to have a thriving sector, and it will change. We will have. I'm absolutely confident we will have a thriving sector, but we are going through a serious period of pain.
Consolidation.
Yeah, that's where we are.
Well, it's not dissimilar. There was a consolidation, wasn't it, in the late 90s, early 2000.
Yeah.
But I think this is this feels 10 times worse.
Yeah, but the only time you get opportunity is in times like this.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, effectively, my business model sort of relies on problems to get the opportunities. It's the only way we grow.
Yeah.
Nobody wants you when everything's going terribly well.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's where we are. So I think in summary, we didn't learn anything in the budget, which is a shame. It should have been an opportunity to put some confidence into the economy. We haven't seen that, but things change. Things will get better. We've just got to be confident about things, and work our way through the next 3 to 4 years.
And we are in the middle of winter. Nothing ever feels great in the middle of winter, does it? When the sun doesn't shine.
No, it doesn't. It's been driving to Boston this morning, a grey, foggy day.
You are picking a destination that would depress me. Very good. Well, thanks for coming in, Nick. I appreciate it.
And don't forget the child benefit.
Yeah.
And Harry, don't get any ideas and decide you're going to have three kids.
We need to have more children, don't we?
So we stood here washing the sprayers, ready to put in the shed into the spray shed. We just bought some traffic film and some snow foam to get the sprayers looking really clean and tidy. We've just put some ceramics on, and now you can see that it's feeding off the tanks, and it just lets the water run off so it don't streak. But yeah, now we're just getting ready to put her in the shed.
So what are you filling it with?
What?
Are you filling it with something to stop it from freezing?
We are gonna put some liquid fur in the nozzles and in the line and the tank. So if it does freeze over the coming of Christmas, it won't freeze up and burst banjo fittings or the nozzles, and it makes it a lot easier to store for the winter.
So what Kieran is trying to show us is this coating means the water is running straight off the glass. The idea is not to leave it with any streaks and things, but Paul, who has come out with his various chemicals and products, who's in charge of the lorries, he loves this kind of thing with his lorries, so he'll make sure the whole fleet's clean this winter.
What did you say? You know what he said to me this morning? He said, we're not having a sale, are we? In January. In January, because we're cleaning all this machinery. Standards. Do you brush your teeth every day?
I do indeed.
Right. Oh, yeah. I hope that's the heat paint, otherwise that's going to peel off. That looks good. And how are we getting on with this one? Right, it's amazing the difference. You look in here, Tom, look at the wheels. This is just a normal looking one, where it's all started and all the steps here, look, the paint comes off on the steps, etc. And then, oh, you haven't done that wheel, have you? But painting everything up, cleaning all the plastics, make sure everything works. Painted this wheel up.
I mean, that's the colour it's meant to be as well. It's the power of the sun, that's the difference it makes.
Right. So, yeah, look at between them. You see it's quite a stark difference, isn't it? And then this is all getting painted. That's going to be good, isn't it?
Yeah, happy.
How many hours has this one got on it?
3,700.
Right, nearly 4,000 hours. Looks good. And then this machine over here, this is back in. Freewheeling hubs wouldn't work. We found the problem, haven't we?
Yep.
The bit wasn't inside.
Yeah, so I'll get it back down. That bit was missing from one of them.
Ah, but it was
The
it.
locks are
But it was in the other side.
yeah, so it goes in there and then locks the hub together.
But they both have to work, do they?
Yeah, because obviously the diff would be
A diff would
more
slip.
power to the
Wrong one.
one that's not
Okay.
got the
Right. So it was only £120, wasn't it? The parts or something.
for two.
Right. And anyway, so we're going through this. This is getting this ready pre-painting. And what's Trigger's broom up to? Have you fixed it?
found out what was wrong with it.
What was wrong with it?
The turbo actually rod,
What, the clamp?
no, the rod that works the wastegate on here.
Huh.
I'll put a bill.
So that's why it was sluggish.
Yeah. Opens and shuts the wastegate on the turbo.
This isn't going to stay on there, though, is it?
No, it's just a minute.
Okay.
I've
I got
ordered,
as bad as trigger if that's exactly what you're proposing.
yeah, a bit of super glue.
That was to check, and then that showed you that was the issue.
Yeah, I drove it around the yard and it's got its power back.
Unbelievable.
Well, it's the wastegate.
So you've got to order a new part.
Yeah, I'm trying to get hold of it. My mate who brings them out.
Yeah.
And the adjuster on the steering wheel.
Oh yes.
Stripped the threads,
Right. So
so I've got a bolt in it at the moment.
part of when it went into the header trailer, hit the wall, the bills keep coming. So launched against the steering column, and then it's stripped all the threads from the impact. So got to replace that, but the bills keep coming. I signed another bill off for £600 only yesterday. So it's amazing what the impact of damage happens. They've changed it. I don't know if it's... Yeah, they put the new hitch on. The new hitch is on because that was splayed out, wasn't it? That wasn't going to hold a thing again. So we've done that. So, yeah, finally getting there slowly.
Do you want me to order a new one of these? Because somebody's overfilled it and pushed the top out.
Really?
I thought, what's all this down here? It's coming out of there.
So it's a man-made problem. Oh, no. And I suppose nobody's owning up to it.
Well, I haven't asked anyone.
Yeah. Should we have a wager? Problem is, we're going to guess the same name, aren't we? Yeah. All right, you order a new one. These are the problems, aren't they? These are the problems. He goes away on holiday, comes back, and then starts having to fix what somebody else has been fiddling with. You know what the moral of that story is, don't you? Don't go on holiday.
Scotch egg.
No.
Yeah, I was going to eat it for breakfast.
It's your own fault.
He turned around, he was
Rule number one, don't leave your food on the floor. What do you think
broke
was...
in my bag and
Did
couldn't
he?
get out.
All the terriers do that, you know. All of my terriers have done that.
You need to feed them a bit more.
No. They just, I think they like the... Did he actually eat it or did he just
Yeah,
bury
no,
it?
we ate the whole lot.
Outside?
Yeah, Tom Simon told me just run outside with something, and I got out there and he was just scoffing the meat and
Is
then
it?
turning on the egg.
Well, great. You know, that means he's probably going to end up... I'll get to walk in there in the morning to his cage and he's going to have had diarrhoea. Great. Would you like to keep him tonight?
No, thank you.
No. Thanks ever so much for Agrii and Nick from Chambers coming in today, just having a bit of a wash up on what we're going to do going into spring with Agrii, and it's not far away actually because we're in wind down mode ready for Christmas now, and then of course what's the impact of the budget, etc., what we're going to do about it, where's our confidence levels, you know, what we're going to be investing in. It doesn't seem to change here. We seem to be terribly enthusiastic and also been trying to push forward and invest in taking on more farmland and doing diversification. So it's just making sure that, you know, in terms of dividends and things like that, but that's taken into account. So, yeah, interesting times, but we'll keep pushing on. I haven't changed my mind, not running off to Dubai just yet to go and live the life in the sun. Tom would say the top of my head would get burnt, but that's what hats are made for. Anyway.
I'd say we'd pay for you to go.
Oh, he's very chatty.
What?
Put the money in there. I'll go. Right. So we look forward to seeing you on Wednesday next week, and hopefully I will be planning my next holiday. All the best. Bye bye.